Have you ever felt like your demand generation is like a rolling dice instead of being predictable? One week, you might see 100 sales, other times 0. Some months, you have massive amount of leads pouring in. The next, it's crickets. This unpredictability in your demand generation is a business problem. Because unpredictability means something is misaligned. Your brand positioning isn't clear. Your pricing structure is either complicated or unrealistic. Your data is fragmented. Your messaging inconsistent, or your marketing strategy is stuck in the past. And when those things are off, your business stays paralyzed. So today, we're going to talk about why your demand generation feels like a dice roll and to how to turn chaos into clarity. My name is Behtash Moojedi, and I've been a marketing leader for the last 11 years, helping businesses of all sizes grow and prosper. Welcome to Critical Hit. And with that, let's get started. But before we do, let me paint you a picture. Businesses like massive link consist of smaller links. Of course, some would like to make the same analogy with cogs in the machine, but just wanted to be a little bit more different today, and I hope that resonates. These sublinks of connected networks allow for the bigger link to be stronger and perform as required. Any weak link will hinder the ability of the bigger link to hold itself, grow, prosper. So how can these smaller network of links help the larger link to be stronger? By simply adhering to their function and also connect well with the neighboring link. And when that happens, the larger link becomes stronger and healthier. Meanwhile, there needs to be also a governance to encourage rules of engagement and also identify ways these sublinks can coexist and work together for the growth of the larger link. One of these governances in 2025 that is very, very important is data leadership. The company needs to be ruthless about the data governance and marketing, sales, CX, and anyone engaged with gathering data need to be ruthless about the data gathered or managed. That is, these individual sublinks need to make sure they speak to each other about how they collect data, how they can uphold the quality of the data, and how does that impact the larger link, the business. Way too many businesses live under this illusion that because they're collecting data and lots of it, that they should be able to predict their demand. That's of course not true. If the data you're collecting is disconnected, incomplete, or irrelevant, then all it does is misguide your future steps, your efforts. Forrester reports this year that 62% of companies blame data fragmentation for their inability to forecast their pipeline accurately. I mean, think about that for a second. That means more than half of the businesses admit they're flying blind because their customer insights live in 20 different silos: CRM, website analytics, ad platforms, sales decks, random spreadsheets, I mean, you name it. And worst part is some of these companies also have predictive models running on top of bad or partial data. And so there are symptoms that come out of that. You pour money into channels that look good because of short-term vanity metrics. You miss the signals telling you your buyer's journey has changed. Your forecasts start swinging wildly, killing your ability to plan inventory, staffing, or cash flow. You see, the demand gen is truly a business problem, not a marketing problem, and it should be tackled and viewed from enterprise point of view. Because if your data can't explain why demand goes up or down, your business remains a guessing game. And the term unpredictable is generally bad for business. If your demand gen is unpredictable, your business is essentially paralyzed. It's a sign you may not truly know your brand, product, pricing, or customer. So before you panic about your unpredictable demand generation, take a step backwards, ask yourself, are you collecting the right data or just a lot of data? Can your systems actually talk to each other? Are you building predictions on reality or assumptions? If you want predictable growth, you must get rid of the noise in your data, because otherwise, garbage in always equals garbage out. We also need to understand that buyer behavior changes more rapidly than slide decks can ever catch on to it. So real marketing is staying obsessed with how your buyer buys, because the way they buy is always shifting. Unfortunately, though, there is an enemy from within that can destroy the ability of the bigger link, in this case, to reach its full potential, no matter how hard the smaller links work together in harmony to get it working there. Anybody wants to take a guess? It's ego. In my humble opinion, sometimes ego is necessary. In fact, I shouldn't say necessary. It's not harmful if your intuition is based on relevance and recent experiences. But you must be humble enough to put that ego in check. Otherwise, why do we hire people in different positions to run our business? Left unchecked, ego will keep you away from reality. And depending on your position in the company, it can have massive and long-term effect on your circle of influence and their ability to make critical decisions. Too many businesses are still relying on marketing playbooks written years ago, mostly because of the unchecked ego. Playbooks build around static buyer personas, fixed assumptions, and a linear funnel that barely exists anymore. According to Gartner this year, 74% of B2B buyers consume more than 10 pieces of content before they ever talk to a salesperson. I mean, think about that for a second. Before your team even knows about these customers, they are silently educating themselves on your company, comparing vendors, reading reviews, watching videos, scanning LinkedIn posts. Some new factors like your position on the and participation in the community, eco-friendly products, other factors that otherwise did not exist 10, 15, 20 years ago. If your demand generation strategy is built around the old idea that your buyer is just waiting to be nurtured in a tidy sequence, you're already behind. McKinsey recently reported that businesses who adapt quickly to shifts in buyer behavior see 2.5 times higher revenue growth than those who don't. And then unpredictability in this case creeps in, like you're talking to a buyer who doesn't exist anymore. I mean, how many times have you checked the validity of your list? Your messaging misses new pain points your audiences care about. Your content feels out of sync because you're not answering the questions buyers asked today. You're asking the questions that they asked last year. To paint you a picture, trying to run demand generation on last year's buyer insight is like getting a physical map from the 90s and look for Blockbuster stores today. Well, I mean, unless if you're from Oregon, you might actually find a store, but for everybody else, probably we're going to go in circles and not really find anything. So ask yourself these questions. When was the last time you refreshed your buyer insights? Are you treating your personas like living documents or sacred relics? Do you know what new triggers are driving buying decisions right now? Your old playbook might have worked once upon a time, but if you want predictable demand, you have to keep rewriting the rules of engagement as fast as your buyers do because they've already moved on, cut the train, left the station. If your brand story changes also every week, don't expect customers to show up every week. That doesn't even limit to ever-changing brand stories. Branding and awareness are both very important despite some businesses thinking of them as vanity items. Why? Without the great positioning, how would you know who you need to talk to? How are you going to deliver your message to them? How would you describe why you matter in the market? Time and time again, I see startups, great initiators, great amazing ideas, rush into sales. Immediately when they come up with the idea, a little bit of ops, they go straight into, now we got to make a sale. Branding then gets summarized to, well, we need a website, we need a logo. Sometimes we need a logo. What happens is then there is nothing to offer to the buyer. I mean, how would they trust you from your logo? I can create a logo on Canva in less than 5 minutes. Logo doesn't carry any weight. The brand story does. Then after that, creating awareness around that brand matters the most. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how much you pour money to it. If it doesn't hit the market, it doesn't hit the buyer. Real marketing means standing for something, staying consistent, and saying it the same way everywhere, every time. But too many businesses are pivoting their messages because they're chasing clicks and new trends. And when your brand story keeps changing, your demand becomes unpredictable too. LinkedIn's B2B marketing report from this year confirmed it too. Companies that maintain a consistent brand narrative see significantly steadier pipelines. Meanwhile, businesses with disjointed messages experience 45% higher variance in lead flow. I mean, think about it, right? If today your brand is talking about innovation, tomorrow, trust, week after, cost saving, what's the customer supposed to believe? How are they going to interact? How can they make decisions about your business? Customers don't invest their time or money in businesses that look confused about who they are or what they do. And then the chaos starts rolling in. Your sales team pitches a different story than your website. Your social content says something, your ad says something else. Prospects feel like they're getting mixed signals and start looking elsewhere. It'll start feeling like spinning wheels on ice. You're burning energy. You're spending the money just to be in the same place you were yesterday and the day before. So here's what I tell my clients. Your brand story should be one drumbeat that never stops. Every channel should echo the story in the same rhythm. Your message should be so clear that your customers could repeat it, but also gain the trust to become your brand ambassadors. Because when your brand stands for something and stands for it consistently, then people start showing up without you having to chase after them. And that's how you shift from unpredictable demand to predictable demand. Also, going back to what I was previously talking about brand awareness, many put massive teams behind paid and performance marketing, but completely skip over brand awareness as if it doesn't matter at all. Paid ads can look like stability to you until you shut off the budget and watch the demand vanish. That is, even if you get lucky to have a demand, because without true brand story, you'll be lucky to even pick up scrapes and, here and there, week in and week out. Real marketing here means knowing the difference between buying attention and earning loyalty. Too many businesses fall to the same trap. They look at their paid media dashboard, see everything green, the leads are coming in. Great, we cracked the code. But here's the problem, and HubSpot's State of Marketing report also point to it. Brands relying primarily on paid channels see dramatically more volatility in their pipeline, because the minute you pause, those budgets or costs spike due to an auction changes, demand evaporates. Paid traffic is like a faucet. You turn it on, you turn it off. Organic trust, brand authority, and reputation, those are like wells that keep on producing and producing even when your budget takes a hit. So let's get real. If your entire demand gen depends on how much money you spend on it, your business is fragile and it remains fragile. And the fragility turns into unpredictability real fast. For example, cost per click surges unexpectedly, pipeline drops. Ad fatigue sets in, click-through rate collapses. Platform changes algorithms, your best campaigns all of a sudden doesn't work anymore. Just like that. Because with paid ads, you're essentially just borrowing time and traffic. What is the solution here? Balance. Invest in content, SEO, partnerships, and communities that keep delivering when paid ads is paused. Build brand gravity. A strong brand pulls customers in without constant spend. Know your lifetime value versus acquisition costs, so you're not keep on chasing cheap clicks that never convert into loyalty or customers. Paid channels are powerful. I use them. You should use them. But they're not replacement for real brand and predictable demand generation. Because true predictability isn't about how much you spend. It's about how much people believe in what you do. As you can see, it is never too late to catch a fish. And as Antoine de Saint-Exupéry once said, the time for action is now. It's never too late to do something. If your demand generation feels like a dice roll every month, don't settle for living in constant panic mode. Take a step back. Treat unpredictability as your business is giving you red warning, flashing light for something being misaligned. Take time. Start auditing your brand story. Make sure it's clear, consistent, resonates with the customer throughout the channels. Map the real buyer journey. Know how your customers are actually deciding when to buy and what to buy. Unify your data points. Break down silos so you're working with one source of truth. Remember the links? Balance paid ads and brand building. Paid ads create reach, but your brand and organic channels create stability. We'll come back next week to talk about the hidden costs of randomized marketing tactics and why throwing spaghetti at the wall might be the most expensive mistake you'll ever make. Remember, unpredictable demand is solvable, but only if you're taking the time to diagnose the root cause and stop spinning your wheels on surface level fixes. If your demand feels unpredictable and you're ready to figure out why, head over to Medyche.com, MEDYCHE.com. Let's talk about how to fix it. And if you ever like to join me as a guest on this podcast, go to BehtashMoojedi.com/contact and sign up. This was episode 29 of Critical Hit. I'm Behtash, and I'll see you next week.